Meek here, and
it's Corey. I'm here.
And we are about to finally give you guys the video y'all have been waiting for since forever. And as you can tell by the title, it's how we moved from Cleveland to Houston. And not Cleveland, Texas, Cleveland, Ohio to Houston, Texas. And we're probably going to do a part 2. Part 1 is probably going to be our story on how we did it. And then part 2 will probably be tips on how you can move from another state or move from another city or another country, whatever your heart desires. So, do you want to start with you since you moved here first?
Yeah, we'll start with me. So basically, I was living in Cleveland and it was not really going how planned. Economy was not really good, and I just got my degree and I was looking for something new. Being born in New Orleans, I thought about moving back to New Orleans. I viewed some options, applied to some jobs, spoke with my brother who was still living down there, including a lot of other family, and I was going to move back to New Orleans. I wanted to get back to my southern roots and just not have to deal with cold winters and snow anymore. But ended up moving to Houston. So I was going to move to New Orleans with my brother, but he ended up losing his job and he was looking for something new. So we put our minds together and we figured we'd go move to Houston, which is where my father was living since Hurricane Katrina. So I started looking up stuff about Houston, looking at jobs, found out that it was like the number 2 location for young emerging professionals, which I am. So instead of moving I caught the Greyhound bus to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. Hung out there for Mardi Gras week, and then we drove to Houston and we stayed with my dad, and that's how we moved to Houston. That's how I moved to Houston. Like, we were staying in Cleveland, it was kind of hard to leave my wife here. We weren't married at that time, but it was a hard decision. But I was just hoping she would, end up coming down. So
it was a struggle to get me down there.
I thought about moving to New Orleans, but ended up in Houston. So it's kind of like I ended up in Houston. But I was just looking for something different, and I've never been scared to relocate.
Well, as for me, if you've been subscribed to my channel since the beginning, you'll know one of my first videos or vlogs was me basically preparing to leave and the road trip down here. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll make sure I link that down below, because that basically explains my story. Because I think it was like the day before I left, the day I left, and the day we got here. So, well, to make a long story short, how I moved to Houston basically was off of faith. I don't have family in Houston. All I had was Corey, his brother, and his dad. And we had little to no money. I probably had about $200 or $300 saved up. Anyway, I ended up transferring my job that I have down there and had a job lined up, had a little bit of money saved up. We stayed with his dad until we finally moved in our own apartment, and that's just to make a long story short. But if you do want to check out that vlog to see the steps and basically to see how we did it and our road trip there and how I prepared for it, watch that vlog. And that's just basically our backstory. So my first tip is to just do it and go. Don't ask questions. Don't listen to anybody tell you don't go. Just go. Because if you listen to everybody around you, you're never going to go. They're going to leave you stuck and you're going to be miserable. And if you notice, everybody who's ever left where they're from, they're much happier. If you watch Glamazante, you see she moved from North or South Carolina somewhere, some little town, to LA, and she's look at her now. A lot of other YouTubers have done the same thing, and I feel like you guys can do it as well. Me leaving Cleveland, I'm not as miserable as I was. I am happy. A lot of good things has happened to me. I have a daughter. I got married. A lot of positive things happened within a year of me moving out of Cleveland. So moving can be a positive thing. It could be a scary thing, but I say just go for it. Just make sure you move into a safe area. Make sure you're doing your research to wherever you're going, and just do it. Take that leap of faith and go. That's my tip.
I just want to first, start off and say, if you're young and you don't have your own place, moving is easy. You don't have a lot of furniture to move. All you got is your clothes and people that you might know there. You might not know anybody there, but I am a believer of the 5 Ps. What are the 5 Ps?
I don't know.
She doesn't know the 5 Ps. I try to get her to learn the 5 Ps. But the 5 Ps are: prior preparation prevents poor performance. So hopefully you guys will learn that, and y'all can use that in y'all everyday life and making decisions and stuff. But basically preparation, you got to prepare for anything. You got to research it, see what jobs are out there, see what people are saying about the city. Check out the nightlife if that's something that you're into. Check out the job market. Potential job leads. You want to look in the area that you want to live in. Especially like we moved to Houston from Cleveland, so like Houston is like 3 or 4 times the size of Cleveland. So you really got to know what side of town you want to live in. That is the end of part 1. Make sure you guys tune in to part 2.
Bye guys.